Let's go to Brian.
Yeah, I know you have other callers, so I'm going to be as brief as possible about abortion. It takes two people to have a child, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, what if the male wishes to have the child? Who speaks for his voice?
I'm sorry. That is one thing where males don't have a voice. Yes, it takes two. But the thing about it is, since the male doesn't carry the child, the male has no voice until he takes care of that child, which means until that child is birthed. So no, he has, let me tell you, if he wants to have an influence on that woman, then he better be nice to that woman and does what they've always asked of women to do to get the things that women get from men. You see, when men get at a disadvantage, they scream. But when they put women at a disadvantage, they want to be of omnipotent power. So, it's amazing, right? We are at a disadvantage, Brian. We don't have a say. Women do. We don't. They do. That's my answer, my dear brother.
Now, my niece had a daughter. That daughter had a premature child. They life flighted her from Crystal Beach to UTMB. I went there. I saw the child in the incubator. It was about 1/3 the size of a Barbie doll. The attending nurse said, "Did you know that at this stage, that child can be aborted?" I had no idea. Later on, I found out about partial birth abortion. A woman wrote an article. She had a nervous breakdown because she was holding the head of the child. The doctor stuck a needle in the back of its head and sucked its brains out. Before that happened, that child touched that woman's hand and grabbed that finger. She had a nervous breakdown. Who speaks for the child?
Well, let me just say this, okay? I mean, those things sound horrific, what you just said. No human being can listen to what you just said and not feel something. I did, as you said that. But again, my feelings don't matter. And I know when you talk about who speaks for the child, Brian, I hope the same passion that you have for an unborn child was the passion you had to support the born and the living. So my thing is, these are not simple issues. They're complicated issues. And I know what my position is, and I know where I am supposed to be. I know that I believe in supporting that woman, whoever that woman is carrying a child. And I would try to make life in such a manner that she doesn't feel that something that is appended to her is a burden. But ultimately, if society were more responsive to women in pregnancy, if society was more responsible with policies, these are questions we would never have to answer. So to people like you, Brian, who I think basically have a heart, try not to have your heart polarized by an instant and have it polarized by positivity towards society as a whole. And then we won't even have to talk about issues like abortion. Continue, my friend.
No. It is about abortion.
Brian, as long as you make the issue on abortion, you will be blinded from what causes abortion. I always say, as an engineer, as a scientist, I like to look at causality. I like to look at what creates things, make things happen. The problem with shallow thinking, and I'm not calling your thinking specifically shallow, but those who inform you shallow, the problem with that type of thinking is that everything seems to be a solution. You guys look at immigration the same way. You want to put a wall up as opposed to solving what is occurring that creates that border problem. When it comes to poverty, you want to tell people to go to work as opposed to looking at why is it some people don't go to work, etc. I believe in solving problems at the core where it's actually solvable. Whenever you guys talk about other things, and when I say you guys, not you specifically, but the thinking methodology fails in it doesn't solve problems. It tries to put band-aids on things. Whenever you start having it, Neil, you want to add to that? I saw your mouth moving.
I just have a question for Brian, and I mean, obviously I hope the answer is yes, and everyone as well, but to your knowledge, did your niece have health insurance that paid for that life flight from Crystal Beach to the medical center?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Well, I'm very glad to hear that because, and I obviously hope everyone's well, because So consistently, when we advocate for everyone to have health insurance, the answer is no. Those flights are tremendously expensive. And we talked a little earlier about the universal basic income program that Lena wanted, and the county commissioners have enacted to a degree. And the Republicans immediately said, we're going to pass laws prohibiting it. So I wish that there was just better support for the infrastructure that would allow for healthy actions.
All right,
Okay.
give me a closer, Brian. I need to go to the next caller.
No, I'm a mechanic. Okay. I'm an actual true mechanic, not a parts changer. I am a mechanic. And that answers your question also.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.